Hello there, you're watching Canal Algérie and I'm your host, Karim Zachary. Coming up next in our news program. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, receives the credentials of 3 new ambassadors to Algeria: the ambassador of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, the ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, and the ambassador of Romania, along with the United Nations resident coordinator in Algeria. Promoting bilateral cooperation tops the agenda of the Libyan Interior Minister Khalid Tijani Mazin to Algeria. And as a representative of the President of the Republic, the Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Lieutenant General Said Chindriha, pays an official visit to Egypt to take part in the ADEX 2021 Defense Expo. Good evening. Those were today's headlines. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received on Sunday the credentials of 3 new ambassadors to Algeria, namely Their Excellencies, the Ambassador of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, Shaker Atallah Al-Amouche, the Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, Wedadi Ould Sidi Heiba, and the Romanian Ambassador Gruia Otiliu Jacota, along with the United Nations resident coordinator in Algeria, Alejandro Enrique Alvarez.
The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, Shaker Atallah Al-Amouche.
I was honored to be received by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, to give him my credentials as Ambassador of Jordan to Algeria. I took this opportunity to convey to the President of the Republic the best greetings of the Jordanian King, Abdullah bin Hussein, as well as his best wishes of happiness and prosperity to Algeria and its people. During this meeting, the emphasis was put on the depth and strength of bilateral relations between our 2 brotherly countries to make it a milestone of cooperation, serving the interests of both parties. I reiterate my joy to be in Algeria in the presence of the President of the Republic and among Algerian brothers, a friendly and welcoming people to whom I offer my wishes of prosperity and development.
The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, also received this Sunday the credentials of His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania to Algeria, Wedadi Ould Sidi Heiba.
I was received by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, on the occasion of the presentation of the credentials in my capacity as Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania to Algeria. I transmit to the Algerian President the greetings of the Mauritanian President, Mohammed Ould Sheikh Al Ghazwani, who charged me to transmit the same greetings. Me and the President of the Republic that bind our 2 brotherly countries, and the willingness of the Algerian government under his leadership to promote this cooperation to better serve the interests of both countries. For my part, I affirm that I will work through the mission entrusted to me to achieve the objectives set by our 2 presidents in terms of cooperation in various sectors.
The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the credentials of the United Nations resident coordinator in Algeria, His Excellency Alejandro Enrique Alvarez.
Un honneur pour nous, pour moi-même et pour mes collaborateurs, les chefs d'agence.
It was a great honor to me and my partners. We talked about Algeria's role in the world, a role which the UN Secretary General hails and appreciates as a country that promotes peace and prosperity. We also held talks out the United Nations technical cooperation for Algeria's sustainable development in various sectors, notably economy, regarding this diversification, in addition to the strengthening of state welfare. The United Nations is fully committed in working with the Algerian authorities to reach the set objectives for sustainable development.
The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the credentials of His Excellency, the Romanian Ambassador to Algeria, Gruia Otiliu Jacota.
de la Roumanie auprès de la République algérienne démocratique et populaire sont unis par des relations traditionnelles d'amitié.
Algeria and Romania are two countries with almost 60 years of deep traditional bilateral relations that constitute a solid foundation for future cooperation in all sectors. Romania has gained quite an experience during its transition from a dictatorial government to be a free one, able to have associates. We are ready to share our experience in all sectors, notably in the institutional one and higher education. I hope to be able to establish working contacts at all levels in ministers and state authorities, as well in the educational institutions, in order to ensure that both countries benefit from a functional and reliable cooperation. Thank you for your attention.
It is worth recalling that the audiences were attended by the Foreign Affairs Minister Mtala Mamra, in addition to the Private Principal Secretary to the Presidency, Abdelaziz Khalaf. Back on the unfolding and the organization of the electoral event, which constitutes an ultimate step for the construction of a modern state. This event has aroused the interest of the national and international media. The details in this report by Ines Kidlu.
These local elections constitute an important political appointment on which Algerians have staked a lot on the of their representatives in the management of daily affairs. The renewal of the members of the communal and provincial people's assemblies is part of the continuation of the efforts undertaken by the public authorities to restore the legitimacy of state institutions and the confidence of citizens with their representatives at the local level. A ballot that took place in serenity and calm, according to observers, and which recorded an influx of citizens on the polling stations, but also retreats boycotts from the political party. Moreover, this electoral appointment has attracted the interest of national and international media, which didn't fail to report the statements of the President of the Republic, and this just after having accomplished his electoral duty. Abdelmajid Tebboune said in this regard that this electoral appointment is an ultimate step for the building of a modern state, and this through the participation of its youth, who will choose their leaders and their elected officials, stressing that the communal People's Assembly and provincial People's Assembly are the basic state institutions to which it is necessary to confer broad prerogatives to enable the elected assemblies to manage their affairs. Local elections attract voters because they are directly concerned with their day-to-day affairs and the handling of their concerns. The November 27th elections are a democratic showcase that respects divergent political views as the new Algeria moves towards building a strong economy and an established democracy.
The Libyan Interior Minister Khaled Tijani Mazen was also received by Minister of Finance Emir bin Abdurrahman. The discussion centered on bilateral relations in addition to the latest development in Libya and Algeria's efforts to end the crisis. The meeting was attended by the Interior Minister Kamal Beljoud and the National Police Director Farid Zainuddin Ben Sheikh. As a representative of the President of the Republic, Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, and at the invitation of the Defense Minister of the Arab Republic of Egypt, Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Lieutenant General Saïd Chengriha, pays an official visit starting from Sunday to the Arab Republic of Egypt. to take part in the second edition of the ADEX 2021 Expo or Defense Expo, which will be organized in Cairo from the 29th to the 2nd of December 2021. At his arrival, the Lieutenant General was welcomed by the Egyptian Vice Defense Minister, Major General Bahri Ahmed Badri. The Interior and Local Collectivities and Territory Management Minister Canal received on Sunday at his ministerial department his Libyan counterpart Khalid Tijani Mazin, who is on a working visit of 1 day to Algeria. The encounter allowed reviewing the reopening of border posts to facilitate goods circulation, Libyan and Algerian merchandise transporters, the objective being to reduce the expensive prices, especially in the south of Libya.
During this meeting, I discussed with my friend the Minister of Interior, Kamal Beljoud, the ways and means to enhance cooperation with Algeria, in particular between our two interior ministries, via various joint commissions. Among the issues raised were the training of elements of the Libyan National Police, the situation of Libyan nationals settled in Algeria and Algerian nationals settled in Libya, as well as the reopening of border crossings countries to facilitate the movement of goods and people in both directions. I was glad to note that there was a true agreement of opinions on several current files and issues. We also agreed to step up coordination on the field, such as by reopening the Dibdab border crossing, especially as it has been raised on several occasions. It is high time that goods are allowed to move more freely through our borders. We also talked about training cooperation, law enforcement, civil defense, and local administration services. In all cases, the coordination between our two ministries will continue in the interest of our countries and our two peoples.
The Libyan Interior Minister Khalid Tijani Mazin paid also a visit to the Central Laboratory of Forensic Police here in Algiers. The Libyan minister had the opportunity to inspect the different departments of this important security institution. He was also briefed about the latest techniques used to identify criminals, including the fingerprint identification system. The earthquake which hit Bijaya province this morning didn't leave any victims behind, nor did it cause any material loss, according to a communique by the Civil Defense. As a reminder, the earthquake reached 4.0 of magnitude on Richter scale on Sunday morning at 9:52 a.m. in Bijaya province. The epicenter of the earthquake was located 5 kilometers northeast Kharata. Strong winds reaching and even sometimes going over 90 kilometers per hour will blow on several provinces starting from Sunday afternoon, according to a special meteorological report by the National Office of Meteorology. Placed under vigilance were some provinces under an orange, or let's say under an orange label. The report concerns firstly Tipaza, Algiers, Blida, Boumadas, Tizi Ouzou, Jaya, Jijil, Skikda, Annaba and Atarif provinces, where the wind blows from the west to the northeast with a speed of 60 to 70 kilometers per hour, reaching or sometimes going up to 90 kilometers. The validity of this report is from Sunday 3 p.m. to Monday the same time. Moving on now to COVID-19 updates. During the last 24 hours in Algeria, 172 new confirmed cases were recorded, while 6 people unfortunately passed away due to the virus, whereas 131 patients recovered and were discharged from the hospital, according to the Health Ministry. The collective of citizens of the Algerian community abroad established in France gathered in Lyon under the motto, the urgent need to restructure the Algerian diaspora. More details with Rania Al-Bahri.
In Lyon, Algerian nationals have come from the four corners of France. Everyone came determined to lay the foundation stone for national trust among the Algerian nationals in France. The idea is, of course, to bring together several Algerian nationals on a common project, which is to structure this community to defend these interests here, of course, where everything is more audible than the other side of the Mediterranean, and in particular, to answer the call done by the President Tebboune recently. The controversy was also rich and covered with testimonies of experiences that went through some successes, but the dominant idea was structuring to serve a common cause. It was possible to meet people of different backgrounds from Marseille, Paris, Lyon, and the secret is to combine all these skills to connect them moving forward. It's important for us to meet today as we discuss together the questions of the community. What was raised is an official and objective way is that the Algerian nationals living in France will issue a letter to the President of the Republic, which appeals to his desire to be able to improve the structuring and support of the Algerian-French Commission. The message was actually published after this meeting that took place on Thursday evening. The collective is working to create a structure at the level of each consulate in France to equip itself with an effective mechanism on the ground.
In Morocco, the social front is still in turmoil, grumbling against the normalization of relations with the Zionist entity and the security and defense accords that threaten the whole region. The details in the following.
In the Moroccan streets, the slogans are multiplying, testifying to an anger that does not stop rambling. The anger of a people who reject the regime of the Makhzen, allied with the Zionist entity, and loudly proclaims its indignation against the decisions of a monarch more and more unpopular. This Saturday, Moroccans have again invested several Moroccan cities to denounce the repression and injustices, but also to condemn the visit of the minister of the Zionist entity in Morocco on the suspicious and shameful security and military agreements concluded by Morocco with this entity, which threatens the security and stability of the whole region. The popular discontent has finally reached several cities, from Fez to Rabat throughout Angers. The Moroccan security forces used violence to silence the demonstrators, but nothing seems to stop the voice of Moroccans who claim the right to dignity and their solidarity with the Palestinian people. For the demonstrators, the visit of the Zionist defense minister and the welcoming ceremony of this criminal, whose hands are stained with the blood of Palestinians and Arabs, is an act of great treason. The slogans chanted testify to wholesale rejection of the decisions of the Moroccan monarch, who has been disowned by his own people. By signing the security cooperation agreement with the Zionist entity, Morocco becomes the first Arab country to sign military agreement with the Zionist entity, which gives it an ideal cover to practice its crimes against the Palestinian people with impunity.
Now we wrap up our news from Beni Abbas, which attracts a large number of visitors and tourists every year to discover its touristic attractions and enjoy charming scenery. The details with Rania Al-Bahri.
Beni Abbas is a symbol of originality and pride. Every person is enchanted by its natural beauty mixed with its deep civilization and heritage, most attractive to tourists and adventurers. Beni Abbas have beautiful scenery, generous people and beautiful areas to explore. You will find new things that you won't find elsewhere. I advise people to come and visit it. A very beautiful town that worth a visit. 1 week is not enough to explore it. This area needs at least a couple of weeks to explore it. Between hobby and professionalism, many visitors prefer to climb the tops of sand dunes and practice sandboarding, which attracts the tourists to discover the fun of this sport. It's my first visit to desert. It's such a nice experience. Our desert is very beautiful. I loved it very much. There are many things that we can do here. We visited our hotel. We contemplated the sunset. Our country is very beautiful with stunning views. We are very happy. The favorite fun of the majority of tourists begins when visiting the ancient palace to take a rest and drink a cup of tea with its dessert flavor and taste.
That's the end of our news. Thank you for tuning in to our channel. Bye for now.